Thank you for joining us today for our webinar to introduce BOL Squared, Advanced Solutions' new Bill of Ladings software solution for SAP. I'm Monica from Advanced Solutions. A quick introduction. Advanced Solutions is a privately held SAP solution provider specializing in SAP supply chain management. Since our beginning in 1999, Advanced Solutions has focused on SAP WM, SAP EWM, SAP Production Planning, and SAP APO. Before we begin, a few reminders. Please mute all phones, and if you have a question, please send it to us via chat. At the end of our presentation, Phil Avalar, our Managing Director, will answer them. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Phil, who will take us through BOL Squared.
Thanks, Monica. Hello, everyone. Let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about getting ourselves grounded on the current process, and just so we're all on the same page. The BOL Squared software was developed to enhance and to improve the typical shipping process related to the handling of bill of lading. So let me walk through that process, and then I'll talk a little bit about more, and then walk into a demo. The standard process for shipping using SAP is to prepare your shipping documentation. That includes packing slips, generating the bill of lading. Typically what we'll see is that customers will have their shipping clerks put all their paperwork together in anticipation of the carrier arriving at a specific time or after they've been called, and have that ready for when the driver arrives. When the carrier arrives, we'll have the shipping personnel load the truck, verify the load with the driver. Normally the driver will be on hand and watching as the truck is being loaded, so they'll know how many pallets or how many cartons are being loaded on the truck, and so they can verify what they're signing for. We'll have them sign the paperwork. Typically a hard copy will go with the driver, and we'll keep a copy internally for our own records, and those will be filed. More than likely at this point, the shipping clerk will go into SAP and either perform a post-goods issue, perform a shipment complete if it's an SAP shipment, or if it's a TU and EWM. Before I go into how we've enhanced that process with BOL Squared, let me mention we developed the BOL Squared software in conjunction with one of our customers who had some very specific pain points, which may be pain points that your experience as well. Number one, we wanted to streamline the process for bill of ladings. In their particular case, the bill of ladings were created at distribution centers throughout the country, but then centrally filed in a transportation office at their headquarters. So the bill of ladings were being inter-office mailed every week to the central office and then filed there. The reality is that if a bill of lading needed to be pulled for some reason, it would take quite a bit of time for that original to be accessed. The other issue that they were running into is that in a lot of cases, because the bill of ladings were being generated in advance, if there was any change, and a typical change could be that as I'm staging my orders throughout the day and I have a carrier who's going to come in at a specific time, it's possible that a delivery could be added, for example, to a shipment. I have a shipment that's going to one specific area. Customers added an order, so I'll generate another delivery, pick and pack that, and I want to add it to the same shipment. What will happen is that the packet or the bill of lading that already has been generated in anticipation of the carrier arriving will need to be recreated. So those were some of the pain points that we were trying to address, and I think we've addressed those and some additional pain points. So let's go through and let me walk you through a demo of how our software works and what it provides. Let me switch over my screen here. Just give that a second to update. Okay, the BOL Squared solution is comprised. There's several pieces to this. The predominantly what you're going to see is our mobile application. It's a tablet-based, iOS-based application that replaces the SAP's SAP GUI that you would normally use in a shipping office. I'll log in using my regular SAP login. I'll select the specific server that I'm going to log into. So in our case, we're connecting to our development server. I'll go ahead and log into our system. And when I'm connected, I can see who's connected. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to load a specific bill of lading. So what I'm actually loading is when I bring that up, I'm loading a delivery, a shipment, or a TU. When the application accesses that information, it's going to pull in the carrier that I selected, the details, the Incoterms, any specific details that I've identified that the loading personnel need to see on their application. Okay, when I pulled that up, I brought in the information from the delivery, and I also generated a output. Now the output's generated out of SAP, so whatever form you're using in SAP, that's what's going to show up on the screen. A facsimile of that form is going to show up of the bill of lading. Now at this point, when I bring this up, typically what's happened is that the shipping personnel have loaded the truck, and now what I'm going to do, I'm done loading the truck, and I will pull up that delivery, shipment, or TU. I'll put in the trailer number, whatever that trailer number might be, and I'll add my pro number. And then what I'll do at this point is I'll take a look at the bill of lading, but what I actually want to do is I want to hand the tablet to the driver or look at it together with the driver and have the driver verify who counted. Typically that will be the driver that will want to count that that shipment. If it's a full truckload, then I'll probably want to capture the seal number, and the seal number would show up as a box here, because then in that case, then the customer counted it and the customer loaded it, but I sealed the truck when I was done. So in this case, I'm going to say that the driver counted the freight as it was being loaded. It was loaded by the customer. And the driver will get his printed name, and then we'll just sign the document. When that's done, we'll submit that up to SAP. It's very quick. And I'll go in and access the delivery. And what you're going to see is very simple. We're updating the information in SAP. We're updating the trailer number. We generated the bill of lading number. In this particular case, the bill of lading number is the delivery number, but we also support the VIX and GS1 standard for bill of lading. So in that case, what you'll see is it's a combination of your GS1 number plus a sequential number plus a modulo 10 check digit at the end of it. So we also support the IAG standard as well for bill of lading numbers, so that the bill of lading number field gets filled in with the appropriate number depending on what standard your delivery supports. Sorry about that notification. All right, so so I've updated the header. I've also updated the loading date and time. Now it's also possible, and I'll show you in a subsequent slide, to configure the system to perform an automatic post-goods issue in the case of a delivery, mark a shipment as shipment complete, or in the case of a TU, do a checkout on the TU. So in this particular case, we didn't do that, but we can do that all through the application. Now, at this point, I've generated a hard copy of the bill of lading, but also the real benefit is that now, if you look on here, I have an attachment list on the delivery, and it could be a shipment as well. But on that attachment list, if I open this document up and just list it as an EBOL, I'm going to see the final bill of lading, the signed bill of lading facsimile attached to the delivery. So the benefit this provides is that in my shipping office, let's say my shipping office is in one state, my headquarters is in another state, the moment that shipment leaves the dock, anyone pulling up that delivery can immediately get access to the bill of lading. Now, more than likely, that's not the way you're going to access the bill of lading, but when there's a problem with the shipment, you pull up the delivery, then it's possible for you to pull up all the documentation, all your outputs, and in addition to the bill of lading, so you can get access to it when you need it. So let me back out of there. We've got another scenario, and that is, the scenario is that the driver comes in with his own bill of lading. They typically this will happen like in a Walmart Target scenario where Walmart will schedule the pickup and the driver comes in with his own bill of lading that describes what's to be picked up. In that particular case, and because our simulator doesn't support the camera, I'm going to show you a recording I made of our application. The application works the same way. The only difference is now I selected scan a bill of lading. And if you see that in the office, I scanned the signed bill of lading. The software uses recognition to be able to identify the corners of the document. I'm accessing those. I type in the delivery, shipment, or TU number so that I can still update the delivery, shipment, and TU number. I'll put in the trailer number, I'll put in the pro number, and then I'll go ahead and post that. So the same process, I support two scenarios. The one scenario is where I'm going to generate a bill of lading on the dock. So remember one of the pain points that we worked with our customer, and that was that if the shipment was modified between the time that I prepared the shipment and the time when the truck arrived, I'm always going to get the most up-to-date information because I'm going to pull it up at the time that the driver arrives. Secondly, I've digitized the bill of lading regardless of whether I generated my own output or the carrier brought in their bill of lading. I've digitized that and attached that to my delivery, my shipment, or my TU. So I've addressed those and also provided the benefit that I can update on the dock the information, trailer number, pro number. I can post my post goods issue. One of the comments that we had was about the post goods issue is we have customers who will post the goods issue as soon as the shipment is ready to go, regardless of whether it's shipped out yet. And our best practice for post goods issue is actually not to post goods issue until the shipment has actually left the building. So this supports that, and also on a shipment or TU basis as well. Okay, so let's summarize and recap the features that I showed you in the BOL squared application, and then talk about some additional functionality. So number one, I was able to generate my bill of lading at the dock. So that the big benefit that I have there is that I'm always going to have the most up-to-date information on my bill of lading. So it doesn't have to so we don't have to delay the driver and also the shipping personnel because I need to regenerate the paperwork because there was some change. I'm going to have the driver e-sign. I'm also going to have the driver confirm and validate whether they loaded the truck, who counted the truck, and we're going to capture that information. We'll also allow the shipping personnel on the dock to update items that are really only known at the time that they're loading the truck, and that is the trailer number, the pro number, and depending on your specific requirements, we can also support the updating of other fields as well. And finally, the most important piece is at the end of the day, we don't have a printed copy. Now, I mentioned that we outputted a printed copy, but that was just because we have to hand the driver a hard copy to go with the shipment. But internally, all we've done is digitize the bill of lading, the signed bill of lading, and attached it to the document in SAP. Okay, one of the questions that comes up whenever we present a mobile application is, well, I've got 4 or 5 tablets, or I've got 6, 7 plants, and each one has this mobile application. What kind of security do I have, or how do I control what they're inputting in the mobile application? Even though we have a iOS-based application that's on an iPad, we control all the functionality of the application within SAP. We support standard configuration objects, as you can see here on the left. I've got a BOL squared application settings, and in those settings we support things like the auto PGI. So if I want, when the loading is complete and I post that bill of lading, I want it to PGI automatically, we support that. We also support field validations. What I mean by that is that some of the checkbox here on the screen support, for example, things like pick and pack complete. What that means is at the time that the delivery or the shipment is pulled up on the BOL squared application, If the delivery is not completely picked or not completely packed, depending on my settings, I can stop the loading personnel from being able to go any further. It'll basically tell them, it'll give them an error telling them that the order is not complete. And that way we don't have something being started before all the paperwork and all the statuses of all the items are completed. So we make sure that everything is complete there. Also, we have settings related to the GS1 for the generation of the bill lading number. We also have another feature, which is the ability to generate a manual bill lading, and that's turned on and off from these settings as well. The one thing I want to mention is that, and I think in the demo I showed you, we initially logged in with a username and password. I mentioned to you that the username and password is your standard SAP username and password. So the reason we log on is so that we support SAP user authorization. So if a user logs on who doesn't have access to deliveries, then he would not be able to utilize the mobile application either. Okay, so I think that addresses most of that's our demo. I'll turn it over to Monica to see if we have any questions.
Thank you, Phil. Now we'll share some questions. Our first question: if we don't currently have an SAP output, is that part of the BOL squared software?
Oh, good question. Yes. So the BOL squared comes with templates for the most common bill ladings. So we have a standard bill lading, a VIX GS1 format, and then also the AIAG format. So if you don't already have a bill lading template that you've designed, we provide a template with the software, which is actually what you were seeing during my demo.
Okay, our next question: does BOL squared work with multiple plants?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the way it works is through the authorization concept. So BOL squared doesn't recognize the plant or warehouse for that matter. We access the delivery, the shipment, or the TU. But because at the beginning when you log in to the BOL squared app, we're verifying the user's authorization. If one user is authorized in one plant but not authorized in another plant, if they try to access the delivery from that other plant, they'll get an error message telling them that the delivery doesn't exist. And the same thing goes for a shipment or a TU. So if you have users that can access all your plants and you have more than one plant, they can access any delivery from any plant. So same as you would in SAP GUI. So it supports the standard SAP functionality.
Okay. Thank you, Phil, and thank you for joining us today. This is the first in a series of webinars we will be presenting in the SAP Supply Chain series over the coming months. So keep an eye on our website for these and other topics. We hope you found this podcast valuable and that you'll return for our other podcasts. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. All our contact information is on the screen. Thank you again for joining us.